What is going on, Nuggets Nation and NBA fans? I am Tom Leuthner. Welcome back into Nuggets Today. We have some things to cover here. Some are good things. Some are, obviously potential people I think Denver should target. And some are possibly concerning. The first thing I want to start with here is there's some good news in the air. I like Dario Sarich as a player. Denver obviously doesn't. Do I like him on Denver? No, I do not, because I don't think he fits Denver's needs at the moment, and I don't think he ever will. I think that maybe there should have been an attempt to play him a little bit more. I think I covered last episode. He averaged around 3-3, maybe 4-3, but he wasn't good enough for Denver. Calvin Booth sort of messed up by giving him the contract that he gave him, but there is some good news around Dario Saric. Not in NBA terms, though, for him. For Denver fans, obviously, it is pretty good. Obviously, I'll get to what I'm going to cover here. But last summer, he did sign with Denver over another foreign team. And that was, obviously we thought as fans that would be a little bit of a good signing just because it gives Jokic the backup center who can shoot a little bit undersized. But there was a lot of Sarge going overseas talk, and it ended up not happening. Obviously, he's on Denver now. But there is a lot of traction that multiple overseas teams are targeting Sarge this upcoming year. According to Bennett Durando of Denver Post, Real Madrid and the Dubai basketball team both want to sign Dario Saric, which I think is great. Dario Saric said that he wants to discuss with his family what he thinks the best thing to do is. Realistically, I wouldn't be surprised in either scenario. He could obviously take the $5 million that Denver's going to give him, stay with the team, not play. But you do see that Denver did not want to play you whatsoever. They're playing a 37-year-old over you when you're 31 years old. So why would you stay when you have the opportunity to actually go overseas? I know maybe if he's going to stay because of money. But if you want to actually play, I think he knows this as well, strictly because he was looking into doing it last year. Going overseas and playing is the best option for you. And not that, he'll never probably see this. And I'm excited as a Denver fan that the possibility that Denver could move on from this option is in the air and again could potentially happen. I think it's fantastic. It's amazing. You finally get to move on from Dario Saric's $5 million option. Not that it opens up this sick amount of cap space like it would if you traded MPJ, but at the same time, it does save you a little bit of money for a guy who's not even going to play. He's not going to step on the court. He didn't step on the court last year. So I think that, obviously there is some positive news in the air regarding Denver and even regarding Sarich. Again, I hope for the best for Sarich if he walks away. If he's playing overseas, I do hope for the best for his career. I do like him as a player. Got to see him live when I was young when he first got drafted. So, next topic I want to move into is somebody I think I've been covering for a little while, and I know that we're jumping around to the same players here, but that is Seth Curry. Denver needs to land him, in my opinion. Do I think that it is a successful offseason for Denver if they only bring in Seth Curry? No, obviously I don't. That's a terrible offseason if that's your only move. But at the same time, Denver needs a shooter more than anything. Another name that was possibly in the air is maybe bringing in Monte Morris as your backup point guard if Russ declines the option. Like I've covered in the past, it seems more likely that Russ is going to accept the option strictly because he has the surgery on his hand coming up. So unless he's retiring, I don't see him turning down money when other teams probably won't offer it for him. And I don't think Denver's going to trade him. So I think the one role that Denver needs to bring in, again, maybe a 3-and-D wing would work. I think, 2 episodes ago, or last episode, I covered Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. Obviously, I've been saying it over and over. He's not a 3-and-D wing, but he's a spot-up shooter. Seth Curry needs to come to Denver on a minimum contract, along with whoever else they want to bring in. I think I covered Boucher last episode as well. So why not bring in Boucher? Why not bring in Seth Curry? And why not, if it makes sense, if you're not making a trade, bring in this next guy, and that is Luke Kennard. I know that it's going to be tougher because he might not take a minimum contract, but because of injuries, he might. Just because other teams might not give him the money that he really does want. He's a good player. We saw 2 years ago that he was able to put up double-digit points on insanely efficient shooting. But within those 2 years, last season, sorry, 2 seasons ago and 3 seasons ago, within those 2 years, I believe averaging 11 to 12 points both years in a row. He only played a total of 63 combined games. So that makes me a little nervous, and that's why I wouldn't bring him in unless it is on a minimum contract. But at the same time, he's a lefty shooter. Obviously, we all know how good of a shooter he is. This past season, he averaged 9 points on 48% from the field and 43% from three. Those are numbers that Denver could easily use on the bench. Like if, I've been saying, if you got a guy like Seth Curry, you get a guy like Boucher, you get to bring in a guy like Luke Kennard if you can get them all on minimum contracts. Hopefully, Sarich and Russ decline their options. You're able to bring these guys in. But I wouldn't even mind if Russ isn't declining his option, just because I do think that these guys would be fine with Russ, because now you have somebody that, Russ could dish the ball out to, hit threes for you. So I think it's ideal if you're able to bring in a guy like Boucher. Obviously, there's some other centers I think you could bring in, and I'm going to break those down more in some future episodes. But like I said, if you can get three guys, and those three guys are Seth Curry, Luke Kennard, and Chris Boucher, I think you have a legitimate bench now, something that you didn't have last year, without moving anybody in a trade. If Russ accepts his option, your bench is now Russ, Seth Curry, Luke Kennard, Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, Deron Holmes, Chris Boucher. That bench is 10 times better than the bench that Denver had this year. I know there's a lot of talk about Bruce Brown, and I've been seeing more that he'll be a mid-level exception player. I don't know if I would do that if I were Denver, because, again, Brown hasn't really touched the floor much since he's left Denver. He hasn't done what he did in Denver. He's been out with injuries. It seems like he's never playing a game. I know he did come back for a little while, but at the same time, I would rather get two spot-up shooters and a backup big and have Strawther, Russ, and Deron Holmes on my bench, and now you have a bench of about 8 to 11 deep that you can actually play with Peyton Watson, Strawther, Russ, Seth Curry, Luke Kennard. And if one of the guys is off between Seth Curry and Luke Kennard, the other one is probably on. And hopefully, again, like I said, hopefully Strawther can turn into that, shot creating shooter that Denver needs on the bench. The last thing I want to talk about, and this is what I was talking about that can be a little concerning, is the comment that Jokic made at the end of the season. Obviously, they're not good not good enough to win a finals, and we all know that. Denver seems very concerned to move any of the core four, and I know that, all we've been talking about is, should we move this player to the core four, or is this guy good enough to stay, or whatever the topic may be. But if Denver can keep the core four and not pick anybody else up, I think it's very concerning that Jokic may not look to accept his extension or even talk about it. He is eligible for an extension and this offseason, but if he doesn't sign the extension this year, and he wants to wait till next year, there's another, I believe, $81 million guaranteed on the next extension. So I think that it's very nerve-wracking that if you can't build a championship team right now around Jokic, then that extension might not happen. So you have to go out, you have to do what you need to do as an organization, and you need to get Jokic the help that he wants, because if not, then there might not be any more Jokic. And unless Denver's moving in for a package that's the same kind of package that they got for Paul George or Rudy Gobert, it's not even worth it. And those packages probably aren't even worth it because he's the best player in the NBA. I've seen a lot of packages that, if Denver were to trade him, not that I'm saying I think they're gonna, but if they were, they're going to get Rui Hachimura, they're going to get Austin Reeves is actually going to be a free agent, they're going to get Dalton Knecht, they're going to get Dorian Finney-Smith, they're going to get Vanderbilt back, maybe 2 picks. That's not enough. You don't want vets for Jokic, realistically. If you're going to bring in vets, it's to help Jokic win the championship. It's not to bring in vets to replace him, because nobody can replace Jokic. He's literally the best player in the NBA. So like I said, go out, get what he needs so that he signs the extension next year and you're able to win a finals, because that's all we want to see as fans. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I'll keep you guys in the loop with more updates I'm seeing. Obviously, some more trade rumors, some more free agent signings. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. So I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you guys soon.